Wolves want VAR scrapped in June. Leeds are back in the Championship playoff final. Can they overcome the hoodoo? And we take a look at the final weekend of the Premier League. This is Cross Channel Football on Lansdowne Roar. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cross Channel Football on Lansdowne Roar. David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. And as always, if you like what you see, you love what you hear, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code and head over to our Facebook, Instagram and our Twitter account. Martin, how you doing? This is another episode, another day of Cross Channel Football, which has already caused a little bit of controversy in one of the comments saying, it's not a channel, it's a sea. I'm going to be quite, whimsical about this. I think it could be anything, couldn't it? It could be the George's channel. It could be BBC channel. It could be RTE. It could be Sky. It could be Canal Plus. It could be anything, really, couldn't it?
Anything in the dodgy box, Dave, yeah.
I wouldn't know about that, Martin. I am very much anti-piracy.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, great to be on again. And yeah, we enjoyed the last show. We had a good chat about everything, and I saw one thing as well, Sam. We didn't even mention Villa. We did mention Villa.
We did.
I'd like to correct that. We did. I said about how wise Alex Ferguson was in predicting that they.
What, he said he played really well, and all of a sudden that transcended into. Yeah, that transcended into Sir Alex Ferguson. He got it right about everything. Nostradamus. He just said he played well.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, look.
You're reaching.
Anyway, I am reaching, yeah. Looking forward to it's been a long season, isn't it? And I'm looking forward to the end of the Premier League, to be honest. And then we've got the FA Cup final and Champions League. And then we have the Euros. So it's like we don't really get a break at all. So, and we're looking forward, obviously, to the international break where Ireland will be taking on Hungary and away to Portugal.
Can't wait for those. We will be over there. We will be on international duty for all of that. Yeah, I mean, it's just summer holidays. What happened to those? We don't get one here on Lansdowne Roar. We're just all the way through. And that's why we've kind of done this, isn't it? So we don't limit ourselves just to Ireland. We love Ireland, but we also want to talk about everything, the Euros. We're not in the Euros, and the way things are going, probably won't be in one for a very long time. So we got to get on something. But yeah, I'm happy to crack on with this. I know this is episode 2, and of course, as always, guys, if you got some suggestions about what we're doing here, it is still a brand new concept. We're still changing it around. We're adding bits to it, taking stuff away. Probably have a little corner for Martin for him to cry on and spew his poison as he did in the last episode. Do you feel a bit lighter, Martin, in the chest area after all of that? Yeah. Is that shoulder area feel a little bit lighter now after removing that chip, or a bit of that chip from your shoulder?
Honest assessment, and people rightly supported me in my comments and said, "Yeah, look, he's only speaking the truth," which is true. I'm always honest.
Ramblings. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're gonna get started anyway. The topic of the show, the main question of the show, is that yes, will VAR be scrapped in June? So basically, Wolves came out the other day with a statement here, and just going to read it out and put it up on the screen here. But Wolves list their negative consequences of VAR. This is courtesy of Sky Sports. Don't tell them; they'll probably sue me. But they talk about here, this is their list of grievances towards the Premier League about VAR. They say it has an impact on goal celebrations and the spontaneous passion that makes the football special. Frustration and confusion inside stadiums due to lengthy VAR checks, a more hostile atmosphere with protests, booing of the Premier League anthem, and chants against VAR. I think that's the major one there, Martin, isn't it? Heaven forbid they boo the Premier League anthem. Overreach of VAR's original purpose to correct clear and obvious mistakes, now over-analysing subjective decisions and compromising the game's fluidity and integrity. Diminished accountability of on-field officials due to safety net of VAR, leading to an erosion of authority on the pitch. Continued errors despite VAR, with supporters unable to accept human error after multiple views and replays. Disruption of the Premier League's fast pace with lengthy VAR checks and more at a time. And they also talk about constant discourse about VAR decisions overshadowing the match itself. And then they kind of wrap it up with erosion of trust and reputation, with VAR fueling completely nonsensical allegations of corruption. So there you go, Martin. Quite damning. They're going to talk about it on June the 6th, which is the Premier League AGM. They want it gone. There's obviously 20 clubs in the Premier League. They need 14 of those to get that ratified. Martin, what do you make of that? Very strong stuff coming from Molyneux.
Yeah, really, really good points, to be honest. And I agree with many of them. And I'd like to see it scrapped personally. I think it
Yeah.
has really helped. I think it's just gone over what its original purpose was, and I like the last bit where they're saying, about the kind of nonsensical allegations of corruption. And that's obviously Nottingham Forest, isn't it? Saying,
Yeah.
and then pull into account the kind of credibility and integrity of the officials. What's annoying though with VAR is you see it in the games, and you actually see the players are part reffing the games now, where they're actually going up to the referees and going, look back, call it VAR. Let's look for the video. I do. I think it. I've always been an advocate of it evens itself out over the season. And yeah, it's just one of them things, isn't it? I think we have to give the power back to the officials to make human errors. I think it does even itself out. I know that people will say, "Oh, Man United get penalties," but I think that's just a natural thing. If you look at stats now in football, a team will get more penalties because they're the most attacking team. But it used to be with Man United, so that's why that used to happen.
And yeah, Alex Ferguson with the LMA in his pocket and the referees. But anyway, yeah.
But yeah, I agree completely with most of their points, and I hope they do scrap it. I know it's been scrapped in other countries, isn't it? And I know UEFA will want to look at it, and so will FIFA. They want to keep control of it. They like that being in their tournament, so it will still be there in the game. But I think it'll be definitely worth looking at. The Premier League, scrapping it for a season even, and just saying, right, now let's vote on whether should we bring it back or not. It's not worked.
Let's have a look here. I mean, the Premier League want it. They want VAR, and they're going to make their case. And their case is, and it's a quote, the Premier League's own data says correct decisions in matches have increased from 82% before VAR was introduced to 96% currently. They argue that this figure will increase even further with the planned introduction of semi-automated offsides next season. So now we're going to get basically AI intelligence with offside, which, I mean, to be fair, I think does make sense to a degree. But, it's gone up. It's a 14% increase, Martin. So VAR has improved or has taken down the number of errors. So it is more from a decision point of view, it's as efficient as it's ever been.
Yeah, but I mean, like bringing AI in, that's computers managing it, isn't it? Like at the moment, the subjective kind of opinion of the officials in the little VAR van or wherever it is watching it, they're kind of still making human errors, aren't they? Because it's subjective. What happens is we a lot of us watch now football, and obviously you watch it live on whatever stream you watch it on, Dave, or in the matches itself at stadiums. But afterwards, everything's overanalyzed now. Everyone's a pundit. We're looking at different views of things, and that is kind of damaging the game a little bit, because you've got this tackle. Well, how come it's a foul in the Liverpool Villa game, and yet when Man United and Arsenal, it's the same challenge? Why has that not happened now? Like, they didn't make that decision then. It's football. It's competitive and it's physical. I can't see that you can't ever have computers running that. Maybe offsides you can, and goal line technology. I haven't got no problem with the goal line technology one. I think.
Well, no, I mean, goal line technology.
Really well.
It's a slam dunk. Like it's over the line. It's not over the line. It says it's over the line, right?
Yeah, but one thing, like even back to, I'm looking back to the Emirates early on in the season, Arsenal, Man United, and I think was the ball out or not? And they said, well, none of the cameras in the whole stadium could pick up that angle. It was that perfect kind of zone where there was just a body in the way, and they went, well, we haven't got a camera to figure that angle, so it's not foolproof even then. So I can't. I'm a bit old school.
Would you not argue though that it's not the VAR is the problem, it's the people running it? Because I don't think other countries have an issue with this. I know Sweden, I think, is the only major, if you will, league that doesn't have VAR. They actually just said, no, we don't want it. But in other leagues, though, it doesn't seem to be as much of a talking point. The VAR seems to run pretty smoothly. They had it at the last World Cup, didn't they? VAR. Didn't seem to be that many issues with it at all. Is it just a Premier League problem? Is it the fact that there's so much money involved, so much pressure? There's more eyes on the game because it's the most watched league in the world. It's the best league in the world in terms of, presentation, and everyone watches it. It's a global league now. It's not just, England and us across the water. It's everyone's watching it, and it just seems to be a massive amount of pressure on it. That the guys doing it just aren't up to it, and until they get a little bit of AI in there, for the more intricate decisions such as the offsides, that can just go, yeah, you're offside. You're toe.
That argument's there. Even if you take away VAR, I don't think our officials are in the Premier League are as good as.
Careful now, our officials.
No, but they're not though. Well, yeah. Officials. We're
not talking about the League of Ireland, Martin, right?
No, I'm just, yeah. No, but you could even mark it as that. I don't you've heard Damien Duff come out and say about officials and that they've got to get better in the past. And I think, it just comes down to that. And interpreting the laws of the game, not the rules, Dave. The laws. It annoys me. That's a bit of a bugbear. I could go on a rant about that when people go, "Oh, it's the rules."
No, we had enough of your ranting the other day.
Anyway,
Jesus.
But yeah, look, I think if it help, we want to help officials out. We want to stop managers in their ears, harassing them.
Oh yeah,
We'll probably see. We've got some managers, haven't we, Dave, on the verge of a touchline ban. I mean, they were very quiet the last few weeks, Arteta and Jurgen, because they were
passion.
That would have
passion.
been brilliant, wouldn't it? It would have been great in a sense if Jurgen had lost the plot some way.
He would have just gone to the touchline. What would he have done? Find him? Banned him? He would have just gone to the touchline.
Sneaked in with the kit like Mourinho did.
I mean, imagine Ferguson getting it. Did Fergie ever get a touchline ban? Even after all, did he ever get a touchline ban?
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. Did he? And the amount of abuse he used to give officials, and the amount, just incredible. And do you remember he used to like butter them up, and then he actually had to bring in a rule. It's like, right, stop talking positively about referees before a game, because we see what you're trying to do there. Do you remember that? Brought in that.
What's interesting actually is when you hear now of ex-officials in the Premier League, they all say what and who did you get along with and all this, and it's all interesting. Like how he supported, how managers do support and interact. I mean, we're not naive. I'm not naive, certainly, in regards to this. They're all contacting each other. They're all very pally with each other. It's a small kind of little network in a sense that, it's a little bit like horse racing, very cliquey, and they all look after each other and support each other in certain ways. What was very interesting, I don't know if you've seen, Dave, the referee, the ref cam thing he wore recently. The referee.
No, I didn't have a look.
He went out on the pitch, and they're doing the handshake at the start of the Premier League anthems and everything, and he's first name terms with everybody.
Yeah,
basically the ref. That's just, we can't be, surprised at that. That's it. They're in that industry. They know each other. I mean, these referees are brought in now when there's rule. They said rule changes. When there's law changes in football, Dave, they bring in the referee to kind of do consultancy and at training games and things. So then they're looking for that edge. Premier League teams, and football teams are. So England will do it now for the Euros. They will have a group of referees who come in to kind of help them on the laws.
What, Mark Clattenburg, yeah, that worked well
with his tattoos.
But that's like 2 games. No, listen, I understand that. And John Fashanu used to do that, didn't he? He used to have a little helper at Wimbledon, and he used to go up and he used to find out as much details from the referees as possible.
Yeah,
as the and he like, oh yeah, he's got 2 kids. One's called Brian, whatever. And then he go up to him, it's like, all right, mate, hey, how are you? How's little Brian? How's the wife? All this. And then when he smashed somebody, and he'd be like, oh, come on, John, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
it's been going on for years. Like, I get it. Just with the whole VAR thing, to be honest with you, I think they should have left it alone. I've never been a fan of VAR. I'm not just saying that because of the absolute disgrace that happened at White Hart Lane, or the Tottenham Stadium, whatever you want to call it, earlier this season, when Liverpool were disallowed an absolute. I mean, that was a clanger and a half. And to be fair, Liverpool got decisions for them. It does even itself up over the season, as you rightly say. It's just the way it goes. I've never been for it to be goal line technology. No problem with that. No issue with that whatsoever, because it's instant. It's just yes, no, boom, straight away, and you can't even argue with that. VAR, it's too subjective. I always remember my mate saying to me, you could see someone like Harry Maguire. It'll get to the stage where you see someone like Harry Maguire squaring up to a VAR monitor. Which I always thought. Um, and yeah, it's too much. It's too much. There's too much money involved. There's too much pressure. There's too many eyes. You've got people that aren't up to this. They're not up to the audience. They're not up to having. I know the referee. I've never refed a game before, but I can imagine it's one of those things. Like a player, you don't think, like if you got a player to maybe go out and act in front of like a theater of 2,000 people, they'd be absolutely just, some would love it, but some would be like mortified. But they'll go out and play in front of like 80,000 people, and they won't think about it. Same referee, they'll go out and play in front. They'll do the thing in front of whatever, and it's just, well, this is what I've done. It's just on a bigger scale. But now all of a sudden, you're going over to the monitor. You have the whole stadium fixed in on you, and there's pressure, and you got the guy in the ear, and then you probably have a mistake from the previous week. You're thinking, geez, I better get this right. And, and it was a Mike Dean, was it, that came out and said he just didn't like being a VAR. And he was trying to do his mate a favor and all this kind of stuff. There's too much going on. It's overthought. And, maybe AI for the offside, yeah, fair enough. But I do think it's ridiculous that someone's hair, and their follicle is over the line, and all of a sudden, like, we're giving it offside. But offside is offside, to be fair.
But we want to see goals, though, don't we? That's what football's about, and that spontaneity of celebrating. And like Postecoglou said it recently, didn't he? He doesn't even celebrate. He waits to look to see is it allowed or not, and that's just a shame. And we shouldn't be. Fans shouldn't be celebrating a goal being disallowed, in a sense, because the video, like, I get frustrated as well with the linesman not putting, they've just got a backup, haven't they? Just make your decision. Be confident in your own ability on a linesman and go, yeah, put my flag up. But they wait and it came back now and he still didn't score, or what he did. Just nonsense, really. So,
well, yeah. Just to sort of finish up on the VAR thing. Well, Wolves are the only club that we know of that have come out publicly against VAR. Just looking here on BBC, apparently Liverpool are in favour of keeping VAR, which is interesting. But they want a review of full transparency. Well, that's what he asked for in October. Obviously, we know what happened with that Spurs game. And you're going to have Ipswich now, and you're going to have Leicester, who've never had VAR. Yeah, they wouldn't have had. No, hold on. Leicester would have had VAR, wouldn't they? Ipswich never had VAR before. No. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting because you don't have it in the Championship. So, yeah, I mean, we'll keep you guys up to date. That will be the 6th of June. So we have nearly a month until that is. Actually, just before we move on from the whole referee thing, did you see in the Euros, they're going to they have a new rule. The head of the referees has brought in, for UEFA, has brought in a new rule where only the captain can speak to the referee. And if anyone else tries it, they'll get booked. I always thought that was the way. And I always thought that was the way it was watching football in the 80s and 90s. And then a few years ago in the Premier League, I think it was about 2006 or something like that, then they made this thing about it, right? Only the captain could speak to the referee, otherwise you get booked. And then having the same thought, thinking, was that not the way it always was? And then it sort of just went away, and they're bringing it back again. I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? You're the captain. Only you can speak to the referee. If one of your players shouts at the referee or whatever, goes up and tries to bully him, it's a yellow card. I mean, simple, isn't it?
I don't like it. No, I'm going to go against you with that one, Dave. I think the referee's got to control the game. He's got to control the players. It's a massive skill challenge to be able to do that. And I think he should be able to interact with everybody. I don't think it's okay if the game's getting silly with challenges, and you want to see a competitive match, and the first few minutes of a derby, people are going head to head and smashing each other. If it gets, they never send anyone off today in the first few minutes of a derby, really. So you kind of call them in, and that's where you get I think the captains do have a responsibility to help the referee manage the game. So that's when you say, look, it's getting a bit silly. Next one now, I've let 2 go. Next one will be a booking, rein in your team. That's absolutely fine. But I don't want it going down the kind of. No, because I think referees, it will go to their heads too much. And what they'll do is it will just be like rugby. Like, you can't even talk to them. And then it becomes,
But I
unpersonal and stuff. No, I think they have to. Why it
you're
won't
already
work? Should I tell you why it won't work? I'll tell
go
you
on.
exactly why it won't work. Because you'll have something like let me think. Right. So you'll have like Harry Kane can only speak to the referee, and
Mm.
then you'll have Jude Bellingham, who's like an international star or a really big, high-profile player, or Jack Grealish or Foden. They'll talk to the referee. You think the referee's going to turn around and go? Maybe they're not great examples, right? But you know, a referee won't book Messi for talking to him in a match just because Messi's not the captain. He won't do it. They will interact with Messi. They will get
No, but hold on a
starstruck by
second.
these players anyway. They
No,
do anyway. A lot.
hold on a second. Well, I
So
mean, the referee in our game against Portugal and Faro a couple of years ago was starstruck by Ronaldo.
exactly. There's your
No,
finest point.
hold on a second. But you listen. We're not talking about if Messi says hello, referee, and the referee goes, "Oh, that's it," yellow card. It's not that. It's just I'll know why you don't want it. Here,
Well,
there you go.
healthy. That's healthy debate. Roy
That's
King.
yeah. You got Stam, you got Keane, you've got I can only imagine Nicky Butt by the hair, and you got Giggs and you got Beckham there,
Yeah.
screaming at the referee, that poor referee, and Roy Keane right in his face with
We can't
veins.
just to apologise to the listeners. We've covered the '99 treble documentary that we're all going to watch, and I think that's Dave. Don't go into that now. We're talking about referees and talking about
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's a perfect example. That's what they're trying to get away from. I mean, it's not as bad as that anymore, because I think even Roy Keane turned around and said, yeah, we were a bit out of line with that one. But the thing is that it's not a case of, if you look sideways, the referee's going to book you. It's a case of it's to have more respect for the referee. I agree with it. I hate, what I hate seeing? I hate seeing a player screaming "f off" at the referee when he says something to him. I hate that. Absolutely hate that. And I don't care if it's an Ireland player or a Liverpool player. I want to see our player booked. The referee is the man in charge or the person in charge of that game, and they deserve the respect. Now, I know you could say, well, they don't help themselves. It doesn't matter, because otherwise you lose all control. And you see some mad stuff going on the continent.
Yeah, but I think the language thing that I remember Gazza got sent off years ago against Man United actually in the '90s for swearing at the referee, and it was the first. And I think they kind of made an example of him. But I think now, you again, I'm saying like referees who've retired now, they often will tell stories now on the dinner circuit, after dinner circuit. Yeah. They're saying how I used to tell him to f off, and they kind of knew they interact with them. The players respond better to people on their kind of wavelength who
maybe the players
don't mind
need to,
that language kind of thing in a way.
Well,
That's
maybe
the
players need to up their game a little bit. Think. I mean, maybe they need a little bit of, they need some manners put on them. These guys are very fortunate, man. They're very wealthy people. They're all, if you're playing in the Premier League, you're instantly a millionaire. By the time you finish playing in the Premier League, you're probably a multi-millionaire. These guys are very, I thought, people go on about passion and all that stuff. You hear Mark Keown talk about, oh, they go into battle. Give over, will you? You can be intense. It's like when somebody smashes up a phone box. Oh, it's my passion. I'm frustrated, because we lost. No. I mean, you can keep that in check. And I think the referee, I think they're allowed to get away with too much. And I think because, to quote Graham Souness, the tail is wagging the dog at the moment. I think these guys need to be brought in. You have these rugby players, right? You want to talk about intense. These guys are battering. Not a big fan of rugby, but they batter into each other. Their testosterone levels are off the charts, right? And they respect the referee. You have the big 6'10" guy respecting this little fella, and he's like, "Don't speak to me." I was like, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ref. I'm sorry." No, it's just,
yeah, but that's a little bit. That's
what?
Rugby.
You're standing on a pitch, right? And
yeah, but you have to respect the officials and everything. We know that, but it is passion and everything like that. Yeah, look, I don't have a problem with the language and stuff, but I don't see you have to bring in a rule to say you can't. It can only be the captain who speaks to him, because I think what will happen then is you have to have a very strong mentality as a player then, because you're just good. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is a big whinger and moaner, as we know, but
he's on his way out,
he talks to the ref constantly. And the perception is all he does is tries to ref the game, and moan at the time. That's what the captain's going to be doing now. And
good.
That's another responsibility for the captain. really think
Yeah, but
it's that big a problem that you have to stop people. It's not like you're having that thing with Roy Keane every week, like that.
no, I
You
mean
don't have that.
that has
Our
calmed
refs
down a
just got to
lot.
be stronger. They've got to
That
be
was a
stronger.
watershed
Not
moment.
take it and go. There you go.
That was a watershed moment, to be fair.
Yeah.
But look, I'm sorry, but when you have people like, going up to the referee and, and they're moaning, and he's waiting for the VAR decision, and they're moaning at him and they're picking at him, stuff like that. It's like the referee's going, "What do you want me to do? I'm waiting for him. What do you want me to do? Why are you talking
Yeah.
at me?"
All you see now is that you say we're going to the monitor. We're going to the monitor. Yeah, I'm talking to them, and
But they
that's it. And
still, but they
because
still go up.
because they're influencing. Unless it is if it's for that purpose, no problem. If it's to stop that because VAR is still in the
What
game.
do you think it's for?
No, but but I just don't. I kind of understood it. What you can't have anyone ever speak to the referee in after any challenge
That's
or
not what
anything
it's
like that.
for. That's not what it's for. It's going when it's a decision going up, and you have the players going up, and they're like, "Remember
Yeah,
this
but
stuff
look at
with the
when.
card?
Yeah, but
Remonstrate
when
with a
they go and
card."
look at the screen, they should have a thing as well that a cordon off that they're not allowed to even influence. But then you'll have the benches, footballers, backroom staff. They'll all find a way of
They're cheating
working around
bastards, basically,
the
most of them.
yeah. They'll all
I mean,
influence it a certain way. They'll be looking at the screen, going, "Yep, that's it," or they're
they,
talking to the linesman. They're getting into that person. So
they brought out
that's
this,
just
they brought out
football.
a
They
spray
find a way.
can. They had to bring out a spray can
Yeah,
to make sure that people weren't infringing on the free kick, weren't infringing on the yards, on their allotted yards. And then Ivan Toney came out and he wiped it
mm.
away. Nobody noticed it. I mean, I'm sorry, but like I know they always want an edge, and you
Fine
say,
margins.
yeah, it is fine margins, but I think this is one I support. This one, and they should bring it into the Premier League. I think the Premier League kind of do it. I think it's an unwritten rule in the Premier League a bit, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to move it on to the playoffs. Man, proper caveman, eh? Caveman football is what we should call this.
I want to see more beach balls in the stadiums as well. Like that was brilliant.
Yeah, I bet you do. Yeah. Well, you'd need it for Old Trafford, wouldn't you, with the amount of water in it? But thank you. Right, we're going to move it on to the playoffs. Last night, Leeds United booked their place into the championship playoff by smashing Norwich 4-0. They were 2-0 up after 20 minutes. They were 3-0 up at half time. And yeah, they just put it was done and dusted. I think Norwich had one decent chance. Ampadu letting the guy in there. But it could play for Ireland. It's the same Ampadu I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it is.
And basically, I just kind of watched the highlights there, and you did as well. From what I saw of it, Shane Duffy didn't do himself any favors, did he? For the first goal, I do not know what they were doing. The free kick, second goal, Duffy ball watching. But to be fair, he was left completely exposed. He lost his marker. But yeah, that's it. Leeds, can they overcome the hoodoo? I think they've never won a playoff, have they?
I don't think so. No. And yeah, look, massive club Leeds. And I do listen to other football podcasts aside from our own, of course. But anyone you hear who played for Leeds, they're blown away by what a massive club it is. And to be fair to them, they've been through some relatively shit times. I know they came up, didn't they, with Bielsa Ball and things like that. They did quite well then, but before that, I mean, they're the whole structure of the club and who was in charge and the money side of things, the court case of O'Leary, all that kind of stuff undermined what was a team really in a club on the verge of going on even bigger, really, and really competing. And they kind of fell away a bit. So I've no problem with them in the Premier League. It's amazing as well. I've gone past Leeds State. I've been to Ellen Road, and it looks so small and it is, but they pack them in there. And it's a very
Even League
intimidating
One
ground to go. Yeah,
they
they
like
did.
30,000.
Their following's incredible. Like
Massive
it
club.
is amazing. Yeah,
Massive club.
So
Leeds should be in the Premier League. To be fair, they should
yeah,
be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And when I think of Norwich, I couldn't help but think of actually, sorry. Before we move on to that one, tonight we have another playoff. Southampton at home to West Brom. A lot of Irish interest there. Well, there should be. I think the only fit one left is Will's cousin Will.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries on both sides there. But that is tonight. Also 0-0 in the first leg. And that's on Sky. That's an 8:00 kickoff tonight. But just going back to what I was going to say, I was thinking of Norwich. I couldn't help but think of this man, Adam Ida. League, SPFL, Premier League. or whatever way you say that now. Scottish Premier League champion, 5-0 up at Killy. They've won 12 out of the last 13. I think they're on 3 in a row now. Obviously, Rangers weren't there for 5 of those. It's just mad when you think about it. But yeah, fair play to Adam Ida. He got the first goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
And and I don't know if you heard Brendan Rodgers. He sort of, he had his Alan Partridge moment, didn't he? His needles to say, I had the last laugh. People saying he was a novice and all of that. Yeah, I mean, fair play to Celtic, but it's a too hard. It's Scotland, isn't it? It's not. Did you hear what Rod Stewart had a go at Simon Jordan? Because Simon Jordan, actually, Graham Souness had a go with Simon Jordan. Some of the stuff that lad comes out with Graham Souness, oh my god, about saying Celtic and Rangers like were miles ahead. Celtic was miles ahead of Rangers, and Graham Souness, no, it wasn't. And Jordan was just kind of very dismissive of Scottish football, saying he should be better, which he's right. And then Rod Stewart took to Instagram to have a go at Simon Jordan. And I don't know, he said something about low-hanging fruit. And then Simon Jordan responds and he goes, if I want to see low-hanging fruit, I'll take a look under Rod Stewart's kilt.
Oh, jeez.
I thought that was brilliant. I was in Tesco's listening to that.
I mean, it's a strange one, isn't it? Like the Rod Stewart thing's a bit strange with Celtic.
He's from Highgate
and things. No, I know that. Yeah, but I'm just
Sir Rod Stewart.
The whole. Yeah. I mean that's a kind of strange situation as well. Taking the knighthood and singing a rebel song, Grace, and then does war songs.
I have actually met Rod Stewart. He's actually a very nice chap.
I'm sure he is. No, I've been to his concerts and stuff, but it's very weird.
He's very out there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange understanding of kind of Celtic's fan base in a sense, the kind of hardcore, I would say, and their political kind of stances on things. He's one of his songs. He has like poppies and everything in the background and all that kind of stuff, and it's not really in keeping with
he is an oxymoron, isn't he? He's a
he sings Grace and doesn't really get what Grace is about.
No. And then he got this thing, didn't he, on the Late Late Show? Ryan Tuberty gave him a thing about it was about the Easter Rising, and then he broke down. Oh, you got an awful time from the British. You're Sir Rod Stewart for.
Doesn't get it.
But anyway, we've gone off on a tangent here. Congratulations to Celtic and Adam Ida,
and Sir Rod Stewart
and Sir Rod
Celtic fans.
And honest,
Billy Connolly, that was for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Is he Sir Billy Connolly? Is he Sir Billy Connolly?
He is Sir Billy Connolly, yeah.
Another fucking one. Jesus.
You listen. Don't you say a word about Billy Connolly. I saw him in 2001. When you go to see a comedian and you think, should maybe have had a few drinks for this one. Will they be funny? It was my first stand-up comedian, Billy Connolly, Dublin, Point Depot, 2001. What a year that was for me personally, by the way. And he was phenomenal. Oh my God. If some people shouldn't be allowed to grow old, he's one of them. Phenomenal. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up with, I suppose quite fitting, the last weekend of the current season of the 2023-24 Premier League season. This is where it stands. So as you can see there, City and Arsenal fighting it out for the title on the last day. Liverpool are in third. Villa are in fourth. Champions League. And in case you didn't hear it in the first one, congratulations to Aston Villa. Although we did say it last time. And of course, Tottenham are still hanging in there for a European place for the Europa League in fifth. So what can happen on the last day? Still a little bit to be decided. So first of all, the title. If City win, they become champions. If they lose or draw, Arsenal need to win to also become champions. Relegation as well. Luton are currently 3 points behind Nottingham Forest and will need a win over Fulham. A defeat for Forest against the relegated Clarets and a 12-goal swing to survive. It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
I saw that there. It's like 12-goal swing. I'm like, oh my God. And if Luton are relegated, then all three promoted teams will go straight back down for only the second time in Premier League era, following Bolton, Barnsley and Crystal Palace in 97-98. Euro places up for grabs. Now we know Liverpool and Villa are in third and fourth, respectively, so they are in the Champions League. However, Tottenham need only a point away to relegated Sheffield United to claim fifth place, sending them directly to the Europa League group stage. Defeat would allow Chelsea, with 3 points behind, with a better goal difference, to leapfrog them if they beat Bournemouth. Also, they will get sixth, Chelsea, with at least a point, but again, defeat would open a door to a team 3 points behind with superior goal difference. In this case, would be Newcastle. I really should have prepared a bit better on this one. Man United technically could finish sixth with a poor goal difference, currently -3, and set to end a Premier League season in negative figures for the very first time. But yeah, they need a 17 goal swing to leapfrog Chelsea, which is amazing. Yep, and games.
Now we're even talking about goal difference. We're talking about goal difference and things like that now. Crazy in like 6th and 7th spots and all this kind of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Games on the telly this weekend. You've got Arsenal versus Everton. That's on TNT Sports 1. You got Chelsea versus Bournemouth, which is on Sky Sports Football Arena. You got Liverpool versus Wolves. The farewell of Jurgen Klopp. Martin has an issue with that. Of course he does. Sky Sports Premier League, and of course Man City against West Ham is live on Sky Sports main event. Why do you have an issue with them showing Klopp's last game of the Premier League, Martin? Go on.
I don't think they showed Man United's last game.
Don't think you backtracked a little bit because you weren't.
It was 5-5 that game. It was an absolute classic. Who got a hat trick for West Brom against Man United in the last game for Ferguson's?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Was it Johnny Evans?
Johnny Evans got a hat trick.
Was it something
Johnny Evans hasn't got a hat trick in training, I reckon.
No. I know, but listen, it happens sometimes. I mean, Nicholas Bentner got a hat trick before for Arsenal, so anything is possible, Martin, in the wonderful fantasy world of football. Right? Who was it? I thought it was just somebody obscure like that.
Lukaku.
Jeez, that is quite obscure, to be fair. Him getting a hat trick, dreadful player.
Lukaku.
Yeah, he was rubbish. Come on out of that. Come on out of that.
Jesus.
I can speak my poison as well.
Anyway, I am. It was a very good little clip on Sky Sports was just showing Klopp with his like saying how interactive he was with the media. I mean, you look back. He's like showing his press conferences and stuff, and like when he come, how young he looked, didn't he? I mean, look, I know. What was it? 8? Is it 8 years?
Yeah,
8 years. And I'll be honest, he has been a really good manager in the Premier League. Like you think of Premier League managers now, I think he's up there with Wenger and Mourinho. Obviously, just we're not different level of Ferguson's well above, but he's definitely in that category of like really established, like definitely top 5, I would say, for me anyway. But like iconic. I think he just I like the fact he came in and said we need to rebuild this club and I need people to kind of invest in it with me, and he got everyone doing that, and he fell in love with Liverpool, and Liverpool fans obviously fell in love with him. But he
was made for the club.
Yeah.
He was made for the club. Now, people turn around and say, but he only won one Champions League. He only won one Premier League in 8 years, right? Have a listen to this stat. If, right, Man City win the league, which most people think they will, that will be Pep Guardiola's 6th title in 7 years. And the only team to stop Man City in that period is Liverpool. That is and people need to understand that. That is a hell of a feat. When you're up against that City side, with that amount of investment, the best in class and everything, arguably the best coach, a generational manager with generational players, the best in class and everything. Nobody has been able to compete with Manchester City. Only 2 clubs have been able to compete with Manchester City. Liverpool did it for a number of years, and Arsenal have done it for this year. They didn't really compete with them last season because he fell away. I think they lost by 9 points in the end or something like that. But Liverpool pushed them, and it wasn't for literally a centimetre. It was a game against City at the Etihad where they cleared the ball. I think John Stones cleared the ball off the line. Salah had his legs. Literally, he was trying to close his legs on the ball. It was just literally a millimetre either side, and the ball was going back in. And Liverpool could have won the league that season. I mean, 97 points against that City team to still not win the league. I mean, it's incredible. And people need to understand that. And it's not like don't give me this far elite. Oh well, you have to win the league. No, I'm sorry, but that no one else. United haven't had a sniff. Chelsea haven't had a sniff. Spurs haven't had a sniff. It's only been Arsenal this season and Liverpool all those other seasons. And I think people need to remember that. If that Liverpool team was up against arguably those United teams as well, Liverpool would have had a lot more Premier League titles. But there you go.
I think. Sorry, I might have to go in a minute because I think the doorbell's just gone. If my auntie, I think it might be my auntie there. Oh, no, it might be my uncle. I don't know. If it was my auntie had bollocks, it'd be my uncle, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ! All right, there's always fine margins in football. We know that. We know that City are cheating with their 115 charges. We know that.
Allegedly,
I think he's done very well. Yeah, we're going to be sued. They're coming for us with that allegation.
They'll be taking that Colin McDowell shirt off you.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah. He's done very, very well. And as I said, iconic manager, and I think he needs a break. I think he could see as well. What's interesting, and I think Sky should do this for all managers, really, who kind of last the course in the Premier League, is to kind of show that early days and show in the press conferences. And I've always said, when you'll all see the true face of a manager when they're under a lot of pressure or it's very competitive, and even how they talk about teams that are competing with them. Yeah, because it was all very friendly in the past. Like, I remember it was quite sad in a way how Fergie used to talk about Wenger at the end because Arsenal weren't competitive against Man United anymore then. And it was almost like pitying him. And I think, you do see the true colours of a manager then in competition. And some good little bits with Pep and Jurgen, I think you've seen. And even Ollie, he was, saying, "Oh, well, he's done a great job." And then with Man United, and then it was like then it was a little bit more diggy when United were a bit more competitive that time. So, yeah, I don't know, Dave. If I wouldn't be out of City's wins, I think did United not finish second?
Yeah, but it wasn't really.
Well, there you go. I mean, look,
no, but it wasn't like they weren't. There was no title race.
I can say one sentence there, and it's just diminish your argument there that it's only been Liverpool pushing them.
Not really.
Or Arsenal.
Hold on. Okay. What season was that, Mister?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
No. Okay. You want to diminish my argument, son? We were going to wrap up now, but you want to go down that.
But I'm just saying, Liverpool didn't finish second every time, did they?
No, they didn't.
And the points we spoke about the points season, the last times.
Last season, it was a 5-point difference, so that's not really a push, right? 21.
It went late though, didn't it?
Not really.
Went to the last few games. It must have.
21-22, 1 point difference between. Last season, or the season before that, we pushed them to the last day. So what was it?
Finished last year.
5th, was it?
Well, that's not them pushing it and making Pep's 6 out of 7, is it?
United. Oh yeah, United pushed City all the way by finishing 12 points behind them in the season.
That's fine, but no one was good behind.
Liverpool had
the league. When the year Leicester won the league, everyone fell off a cliff that year, and it was a perfect storm, wasn't it? I'm not diminishing
that was Klopp's first season.
Huh?
That was
Klopp's first season. The achievement, but I'm just saying it can happen.
I don't mind, but I'm just saying, right? When Liverpool haven't been at it, right, except for this season, when Liverpool haven't been at it, there has been no real challenge to Man City. Would you agree with that statement?
No, because they didn't win it. What did they win it by last year? Because it wasn't that. When did they win it last year? They had to constantly churn it out last year.
5 point difference.
2 games. That goes down to final weeks of the season.
All right, 5 point difference on the last day. Don't think that's much. Yeah. Season before that, 1 point difference with Liverpool. Season before that, Liverpool were champions and had a dreadful season, to be fair, although still managed to finish third somehow. Finished 12 points above Man United. Let's have a look here. I see. You should see, man. You could have just gone great.
I'd be interested to hear what the listeners and viewers think.
Liverpool
opinions on this.
The lockdown season, you like to call it, even though it was gone well out of sight. Liverpool finished 18 points ahead of Man City, by the way, when he finally won the league. Let's have a look before that. 18. I know, but I want to, bring on your comments. Season before that, 2018, 2019, Man City, 98 points. Liverpool, 97 points.
That was the record one where they very narrowly lost it, didn't they? They pushed.
So basically, Martin, and then the one before that, in 2017, 2018, I think Liverpool were only getting going, to be fair, because it did take Klopp, but people have to remember it did take Klopp a couple of seasons to get going. It wasn't he came in and boom. It took a while.
Yeah.
City won the league in 2017, 2018. Jesus, 19 points ahead of Man United, 100 points. Man United finished with 81 points. So, no, I'm sorry. In the last few years, when Liverpool, and I've just proven it there, so I've just smashed your argument, trying to smash my argument, which is watertight as always. Basically, when Liverpool have been at it, there's been no real cement, except for this season. There's been no real cementable challenge towards.
But there was last year.
Not really.
It was 5 points last year, 2 games. Of course it was. Who was second last year? Arsenal.
All right, in the last couple of seasons.
There you go.
Although Liverpool had an absolute nightmare season last season, and he almost did what he did.
Though, yeah, but what I'm saying is, right, so the argument then, right, that's fine. But with all the upheaval of other clubs and changes of managers, the one constant you've had in those clubs, you've had Pep there, you've had Arteta there, right? And you've had Klopp there. And Klopp has got away with that massively. You can't drop off a cliff. You can't. You look at his seasons. You can't be dropping off that much of a level to be competitive. You said yourself they weren't the seasons where they had a year off or whatever it was, right? That it wasn't competitive. That's a failure of Klopp. Why was that happening then? Why did that happen?
Yeah, no. Listen, I'm not denying that at all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, that is a failure. But every manager has failures.
No, but that's fine.
But it doesn't diminish my argument.
He's got away with that.
But it doesn't diminish my argument that the major thorn, except for this season, arguably last season as well, was Liverpool. And when Liverpool weren't on it, no one else got anywhere near Man City. When Liverpool were on it, they were up Man City's arse like a rocket.
2 occasions. 3 occasions.
3 occasions.
And Arsenal
out of the last 7 league titles, Pep will win 6 because they're going to win the league this season, unless there's a miracle, right? That will be 6 titles out of 7, and the only reason why it's not 7 out of 7 is because of Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool
on a really good season for Liverpool that year,
where they
had another really really good season, but
they actually carried on. Listen, the problem with Liverpool has been Klopp's style of football has been also detrimental as much as it's been successful for Liverpool because it's so. Where Cities is so possession based and boring to watch, but it is a machine. Obviously, they don't use up as much energy because they're not really chasing the ball then because they always have the ball and they let the ball do the work. And fair play. Klopp's style of football is the gegenpress, isn't it? It's his style of gegenpress where it's just constant running. So you cannot do that for as long. And that's what's happened. And you saw it last season where the midfield just completely went.
Yeah,
and he rebuilt the midfield. And actually, if it wasn't for for some poor finishing from Darwin Núñez, probably be Liverpool lifting another league title this weekend. But that's, as you say, it's fine margins, and that's how it goes. And I'm sure you can look back on most seasons where it was lost there, with any team. But I'm just saying, I think it's been a magnificent. This started off so nice, didn't it? Then you've gone up with a massive rant, Martin.
It's not a massive rant.
It's my beautiful Klopp there. Look at him.
Stating Rafa facts.
Jesus, right.
And look, ultimately, very good for a Premier League, and I hope he gets a fitting send off from Liverpool fans at Anfield, and I'm sure he will. The media coverage will be well over the top for it because he's not achieved anything close to what Sir Alex Ferguson achieved.
Come on, 26 years, completely different setup, completely different style. Klopp's a coach. Ferguson wasn't a coach. He was a manager. He surrounded himself with coaches. He managed the team well. Mullenstein, Phelan, all those lads did all the work. And you know this, Martin. So I was going to sign off. And then you keep dragging me back in. You keep hooking me, and I have to defend Jurgen Klopp. I have to defend the facts, Martin, and that's my job. To balance it out from your nonsense. And yeah, that's a completely different setup. Klopp, that club runs on Klopp's energy, and that's why his energy is diminished. You can see him now; he looks ancient. He needs to recharge, and that's why it's probably just as well he's moving on. To be honest with you, when we saw what happened in the final weeks of this season, he's run out of energy. So it's a completely different thing from Alex Ferguson.
No, it is hard when you it's ever changing Premier League, isn't it? And I agree with you. It's different eras and stuff.
Exactly. Right. Should we leave it at that?
In his final season, he has had challenges, and he's had a go at Liverpool fans for singing the song when it's not, and then he's had a go at them for booing, when they got knocked out of something else and they left early and stuff. So I think it's the last European.
The Man United game, the atmosphere was flat, wasn't it? I think it was that. And he said about he wanted for the Arsenal game. He said, "Look, if you're not in the mood for singing,
it'll be a quiz question in many years to come, and the answer is Ahmad from Man United, who ended Klopp at Liverpool, because since then they just fell off a cliff after that 4-3 FA Cup game.
And that's anyway, we'll sign off. That's the only claim to success that Man United have had in the last few years.
I will give a prediction now for the Cup final, although we will obviously do a show before that. But Man United will win 1-0. Ahmad Diallo is the bet for the Cup final if he gets on the pitch. All right.
You heard it first. Right, we're going to wrap things up. Martin's gone a little bit over. Well, we've gone way over because of Martin's. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Vitriol, more poison. God, how much is in there? Right. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up, folks. Thank you very much for listening, Martin. Thank you very much for your participation, I suppose. That was
session.
Therapy session. Yeah, it should be called Martin's Corner, shouldn't it? But yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. As always, guys, if you like what you hear, love what you see, hit the subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. If you want opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. I never even got to this bit as well, actually. If you want to send us an email, got any comments about the show, I mean, you can leave a comment down in the comment section, or you can head over and send us an email at pod@lansdowneroar.ie. That's pod@lansdowneroar.ie. Anyway, thank you very much. This is Cross Channel Football. I'm David Dunn. He's Martin Prendergast, and we are out of here. Good night and God bless.